It's a mother to all. The valley's green will age with me.
I wake up about 5:30 or so, and then I will jump out of bed, get the dogs fed, make breakfast, let the dogs go out. And then I'll come back and wake up Meg, and then we'll both kind of do our devotional together.
Okay, you want me to read this to you?
Let's do it.
Since I have invested my very life in you, be well assured that I will also take care of you. When your mind goes into neutral and your thoughts flow freely, you tend to feel anxious and alone. Many problems vanish instantly in the light of my love because you realize you are never alone. Other problems may remain, but they become secondary to knowing me and rejoicing in the relationship I so freely offer you. Each moment you can choose to practice my presence, or you can practice the presence of problems. The Lord replied, my presence will go with you and I will give you rest. Exodus 33:14.
Boom.
Boom.
I like it. So, Megan and I are truly like best friends, so we do everything together. And I bet we talk to each other like 50 times a day. It's probably insane. Probably more than we should ever get paid for. But we just truly like just love hanging out with each other. So Megan and I got married in 2008, and we always joke like we have not tried to get pregnant. And from that time, like we just knew that we wanted to bring this little person into our life. We just didn't know at what point in time. We just did the normal thing, just tried like a normal couple for years and years and years. And I think at like about year 4 or 5 of being married, we're like, okay, something's not really adding up. And we need to just kind of check things out a little bit.
We went through the whole process of like trying and then going to the doctor, and then kind of after a few years realizing something might be wrong. So we pursued fertility treatments, and we did 3 in vitro cycles in about a 2.5-year span. And then we traveled to Colorado. I was determined to like find out it didn't work. That was my big thing. I just wanted to be told it wouldn't work before we could think about anything further, either not having children at all or possibly looking into adoption. We had a follow-up call with the doctor, and we talked to him, and I just got off the phone and I was like so sad because I knew it was final. Like I had no feeling in me it would work beyond that. So we took a couple-month break, and we actually were at an event, and one of my friends said to me, like, Megan, have you seriously never thought about adoption? I was sick of people telling me to pursue it because it's so much more than just adopt. And we were grieving the fact that we weren't going to have biological children.
The struggles and frustration of just that infertility journey is incredibly straining on a marriage. And you try not to find that like resentment, you know, towards this situation of, you know, why me? Why did we get chosen to go through this infertility journey? And so you just constantly live in that every single morning you wake up that you're almost mad. And I think for a long time we were mad at God. We were just mad that me and Megan, you know, healthy couple who we thought, you know, we do the right things, we work out, we exercise, we eat right, like all these things, why would we get chosen to go through infertility?
We were kind of helpless. We couldn't go pursue further treatments, but we knew what we were doing wasn't working. And that was just like a really miserable year. We were just angry, very angry. That was our most angry time at each other, at God. We were mad every time we saw a pregnant person on the street. We were judging, how can they get pregnant? We can't. And then when we found out our third IVF didn't work, that like the reality set in, you know, it was pretty, after the first and second, it was like, we got one more time, we got 2 more times, we got 1 more time. And then when that one set in, it's like, wow, we're done.
I think God was just kind of painting that picture early on, saying that I chose you so that you can share your story later. And that this is so much bigger than just Megan and I going through infertility journeys. And until we like totally wrapped our head around that God is controlling this process and we're not in control of this process, and we just left it to God, that we were never at peace with each other.
We were on vacation in Mexico, and we were both thinking about adoption, but we were overwhelmed by it. We were grieving the fact that we had kind of put a final end to fertility treatments. And so we were really wrestling with like, we like our lives right now without children too. Like this has become normal. And so we were just trying to figure out what we wanted to do. And we had a great vacation. We were sitting down the last night and we wrote down 16 goals for 2016. And one of them was to seriously look into adoption.
And we literally requested the home study paperwork, and it was like 5 inches thick. Like, no lie, like they're gonna dive into every aspect of your life.
With adoption, you can go straight to an agency or you can use a consultant. And I didn't even know this was an option. It just happened that when I was scrolling through Instagram, the gal I saw was a consultant for a company. And I started reading about it, and it basically said, like, just quickly summarize it, like, we'll take the work away from you, like, we'll fill out some of your paperwork, we'll design your profile book, we're here for any question you have, and we have a multi-agency approach. And I read that and I was like, I don't know anything about adoption, I just feel called to do it, and reading about it stresses me out, so like, I'm going this route. So we went the consultant route, and so that was the first step, signing on with her, and then it was getting her all of our information so that she could start filling out agency applications and creating her profile book.
So we just put it aside. We're like, oh man, we're not jumping into this adoption thing, it's crazy. And so we put it aside for months. Like, we wouldn't even talk about it. We would just kind of see that stack of adoption paperwork and just say, we'll get to it later. And you know, God kind of prompts in your life a little bit that says, it's time to check this out, and my timing needs to start now. And so July of 2015 is when we finally brought the paperwork back out, and we were home study approved in September. So basically we could start seeing situations, and so it took us from September to Valentine's Day of 2017 to get matched.
I just knew it was, I never have had such a moment of like honesty and feeling from him. And I heard my phone ding and I saw the lawyer's name and I was like, this is a big email. Like, I just knew in my heart. The expectant mom is just beautiful. And I was like, this is it. It felt like I was looking at like a version of what our lives could have been had we been on a different path.
It was so cool to have that moment of this adoption attorney telling us that we're matched, and we were able to play it together. And immediately, once she said, I wanted to give you the best news on Valentine's Day, on the day of love, I knew we were matched, and I just hit my knees, like literally fell to my knees, and in just like amazement, shock, just crying, like all these different things. Megan just stood there in shock, and I think it was probably the best moment of my entire life.
I have to show you guys this. Look at my cute little bonnet. I found I get a different voice when I'm talking about her stuff. So it's kind of cool. I like to explain a couple of these things. So giraffe, because we announced we announced our adoption with a giraffe, and then the XO is like love, but we found out we were matched on Valentine's Day, and her name actually means love that we've picked. But this is kind of cool. We made this book, and it's just kind of our little journey so far. And then a lot of people have donated to our fundraising. So we've put everyone's names, and then we come in here and like pick a name and pray for them.
Nice.
So it's kind of cool. Like, she'll be able to have that and look back and be like, all these people that kind of helped get me here. So it's April 9th. 2017, And we are currently matched with an expectant mom making her plan for adoption for her little daughter. And we are just waiting and anticipating her arrival. She should be here in about 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of trying to prepare life and our house and our works because she could call tonight and we'll hop on the first plane to Florida and hopefully get there for the delivery. So.
Yeah.
Mommy loves you. I'll be back. Okay? Yeah. I don't know how to get the car seat out of the thing. When she's in there, oh yeah, it is. It's right there.
It's right here. It was covered up by your deal.
Well, it's cute. Put a couple things. That in there. No, you need that one in there. We gotta bring, where is it? Oh, this book and her little journal.
Go down there.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Put that in the seat of the